Hey guys, Omni here. Just got finished watching Army of Thieves over on Netflix. This is the first in Zack Snyder's lineup of spin-offs related to his Army of the Dead universe that he is building out. It's written by Shay Hatten, who is also working on one of the other prequels, the animated one called Lost Vegas. If you're interested in seeing my reaction to the film, I did record that over on my Patreon, or if you become a member here on the channel, it gets you access to that as well. This film is directed by Matthias Schweighöfer, who you might remember and recall from Army of the Dead. Played Dieter. He is the director on this film and starring lead in it as well. He's joined by Nathalie Emmanuel, Rubio Fee, Stuart Martin, Jonathan Cohen, and Guz Khan. This film takes place before the events of Army of the Dead and show kind of a bit of insight into his background with safecracking, how he got into it, some lead up, some of his origins, and building up how he kind of got himself down this path to be united with the team he later runs into in Army of the Dead. So this fills in his journey into safecracking, his passion for it, his love of it, this monotonous life that he's led up until being recruited into this group of people who are going out after these legendary safes. They track him down and believe that he's the best man for the job to tackle this. So he gets recruited into this little gang to go after these massive safes while they're being transported. Meanwhile, a lot of the world is being distracted by a particular event that is happening in Las Vegas over in the States. So Interpol seemingly should have their hands elsewhere, but there is a guy who has a little bit of a vendetta with this particular group, and he knows that this is the perfect time for them to strike while this global distraction is in play. While light on the zombies, obviously, this movie is fun. It is energetic. It is stylized. It is humorous. It is lighthearted by all means. This is a completely different movie, I would say, from Army of the Dead. Matthias Schweighöfer, both starring and being behind the camera, leans into his strengths from what he's kind of known for overseas. These particular rom-com-y kind of eccentric characters. He leans into that, what he's good at. And if you liked what he kind of did in Army of the Dead, there's a lot more of that here. He's a eccentric character. He's over the top. He is goofy. He is zany, but in like these interestingly lovable kind of ways. He's very, I don't know. He's the naive little lamb that gets dragged along into this crazy mess because of his passion and love for safecracking. And it's kind of funny how he gets dragged along through this whole thing. And the people he meets along the way, and how he ends up in the position he's at when we pick up with him in Army of the Dead. There's a lot of things that you will see throughout this that seed a lot of different ideas that you see pay off in the original film, and how his character is set up down this path to end up where he ends up. It's really well directed, honestly. The action's really well done. The way they plan these heists is really well done, and it plays much like a comic book or like a graphic novel in a way. I feel like it doesn't take itself overly serious. It seems like this is just them having fun in this universe, them doing a different style in this universe and just kind of rolling with it. And I think everybody really gave strong performances in this. Again, everybody's a little bit of a caricature of a certain type of person, certain type of character and role that you would see in one of these kind of movies. And it's a lot of fun to see how they kind of interplay together and how he kind of is this black sheep among these criminals, essentially. And it's just really interesting to see how they blend it all together. Again, it's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun, and that's kind of all I can ask for. The trailers made it look like it was going to be a blast. It made it look like it was going to be energetic, lighthearted, and entertaining. And I gotta say, for me, I came out of it quite enjoying myself. There was some silly stuff, there's some dumb stuff, but it's all in jest and good fun. And I had a blast with the film, and that's all I can ask for it. It wasn't like picking at your brain or anything like that. There is some lore and stuff in here that they're building out within the universe slightly that adds and expands on some things we saw in Army of the Dead. And if you are a fan of that, I definitely recommend this. Even if you're not a fan of that, if you're a fan of heist films or just want a fun comedy feel that this one carries along with it, it's definitely going to have its own little tone. And I feel like it's a much tighter story, where Army of the Dead was kind of a bunch of ideas in what was a disguise of a simple in and out zombie film, breaking and entering heist movie. Obviously, they're both kind of heist films, but that one had the zombie shtick, like kind of masking a lot of the other stuff going on with it. This one is much more focused, so it might be a lot easier for people to follow and get into. Because even a lot of the stuff in the first one, I know that a lot of people missed a lot of the crazier things going on because they were distracted by what was the main plot. While that was, in my mind, a diversion from what was actually happening in the subtext and the dialogue between events, what was happening in the background, if you're paying attention to the zombies behind the convoys and all that stuff. I don't know if there's anything in here like that because I wasn't really looking that hard because I was focused obviously on everything else. I don't know if there's any robots, aliens, time travel, or anything like that. There are some allusions to certain possibly supernatural elements in here that tie into what we've seen in Army of the Dead, but I don't know. We'll just have to wait until they expand on this further. But Army of the Dead definitely laid some interesting seeds for what I think could be a really interesting science fiction horror-esque universe. But hell, if you got time, I definitely recommend checking it out over on Netflix. And let me know your thoughts if you have. Sound off the comments. Let me know your thoughts down below. We'll carry on the conversation after the video. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. You can also join my Discord. We can talk about it there. Links to that and all my socials are down below. Remember, if you want to see the full-length reaction to this, you can check that out over on Patreon, or if you become a member on the channel, gets you access to those as well. Before we go, I want to shout out our channel legends: Manny Sherritt, Ryan Karen, Jason Coleman, Philly Vane, Yuri Kurskov, Margaret Grace, Peeling Zim, Mary Bradley, and Jeffrey Hale. Thank you guys so much for your support. But that's been my thoughts on Army of Thieves, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Take care, everybody.